Thank you very much.
All right. That's Donald Trump in Cincinnati, Ohio this morning, speaking to the American Legion. Shorter speech by Donald Trump standards this morning that we saw. He basically echoed a number of the points that he made last night with regard to immigration. He started off, though, talking to this group specifically about patriotism, about education in America, and how he wants to make sure that school curriculums include a comprehensive study of American history and American heroes, and that it includes the Pledge of Allegiance and giving the flag the reverence that it deserves, which is interesting given the controversy that's been going this week about the 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who has decided that he's going to sit on the bench once again in the coming preseason game as they play the Star-Spangled Banner at the beginning of the football games. Lieutenant General Mike Flynn is back with us now. He was watching this as we were over the course of the last 20 minutes or so. Your thoughts on this speech this morning, General?
Yeah, first of all, Mark, thanks for having me back. And if I could just take 2 seconds on the American Legion. The American Legion is almost 100 years old. I think it goes back to about 1919, post-World War I. And it is an extraordinary organization filled with a lot of veterans who give a lot to our nation. So that's number one. The very interesting thing, I think, for all listeners is how comprehensive Donald Trump is being every time he speaks, whether it's to a veterans group like the American Legion, or whether it's last night in Phoenix talking about immigration and the comprehension, kind of process that we need for our immigration policies. But he's talking about essentially Americanism at the end of the day, and how we respect our flag, how we want to have the Pledge of Allegiance in our school systems, how we need jobs for our veterans, how we need to increase the health and how we need to make this country thrive again economically. I mean, this is not just a guy going in there and talking to the American Legion. He's talking to the American public and saying, hey, look, do you want this country to continue to be as strong as it has always been, as we look in the past, what we used to be, because we are changing. Our country is in fact changing. Donald Trump knows that. He's put his finger on that, and that's why he's getting so much support around the country from so many different groups of people, and the American Legion is one of them. So again, thanks for having me.
You know what's so fascinating to me is if you sort of rewound this election cycle and the Donald Trump campaign, 3 or 4 weeks ago, every time he would get up in front of a group, it sort of became about him. It became about how he felt the press was attacking him. Now, every time he gets up, it's about the country. It's about his agenda. So clearly, the reins have been sort of, taken a hold of in this campaign, whether it's the new leadership that he has, or whether it's, fear or a little bit of panic that maybe it wasn't going to go the way he had hoped. Something has set in here. What's your assessment?
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump from the beginning, he looks at this as our country. And we have to take our country back. We have to make our country great again. We have to make our country safe again. And I think that's what this has always been about. I would tell you that the media still attacks him. It's extraordinary how, in fact, he has got to continue to take time to go after the media in many cases, because they're not telling the whole truth, and they sort of nitpick on words that he says, and they take them so out of context. I think if you look at the comprehensiveness and the words that Donald Trump is using today at the American Legion speech, last night at his Phoenix speech about immigration, and frankly in Washington State the other night, I mean, start putting it all together, folks, because this is the next president of the United States of America, and this is the direction that this country is going to go. And I am absolutely very happy about what I hear coming out of Donald Trump, and frankly over the last year, not to mention over the last couple of weeks. The way he is piecing things together is really extraordinary. Oh,
that's what makes it fun to cover and fun to watch, because this is a political situation that is clearly tightening as we head into Labor Day weekend. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, the former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency in the Obama administration. And it's very good to have you here, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks.